Good morning. Today's reading is from 1 Samuel 17, verse 38 through 40 and 48 through 53. It's found on page 261 of your Pew Bible. Saul clothed David with his armor. He put a bronze helmet on his head and clothed him with a coat of mail. David strapped Saul's sword over the armor, and he tried in vain to walk, for he was not used to them. Then David said to Saul, "I cannot walk with these, for I am not used to them." So David removed them. Then he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones from the wadi, and he put them in his shepherd's bag in the pouch. His sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. When the Philistine drew nearer to meet David, David ran quickly towards the battle line to meet the Philistine. David put his hand in the bag, took out a stone, and slung it. Sorry. Slung it. And struck the Philistine on his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, striking down the Philistine and killing him. There was no sword in David's hand. Then David ran and stood over the Philistine. He grasped his sword, drew it out of its sheath, and killed him. Then he cut off his head with it. When the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. The troops of Israel and Judea rose up with a shout and pursued the Philistines as far as Gath and to the gates of Ekron. So the wounded Philistines fell on the way from Shaaraim as far as Gath and Ekron. The Israelites came back from chasing the Philistines, and they plundered their camp. David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. So ends today's reading.
Gospel according to Matthew, book 5, chapter 5, verses 7 through 9 and 43 through 48. I believe it's in the Pew Bible, page 4. God bless us in our hearing. Blessed are those who show mercy. They will be shown mercy. Blessed are those whose hearts are pure. They will see God. Blessed are those who make peace. They will be called children of God. You've heard it said, love your neighbor, hate your enemy. But here's what I'm telling you. Love your enemies. Pray for those who hurt you. Then you'll be children of your Father who is in heaven. God who causes the sun to shine on evil people and good people. Sends rain on those who do right and those who don't. If you love those who love you, what is that? Even the tax collectors do that. If you greet only your own people, what more are you doing than anybody else? Even people who are ungodly do that. So be perfect just as God in heaven is perfect. Thus ends the reading. Be perfect. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. I got to collect myself. I just got to say a prayer for a second and ask that God guide my words and that I get out of the way, really, and that God can shine something through. Dude, there's so much going on in my head that is unprocessed and raw, flying thoughts and emotions. So I wasn't really going to talk about my time at Standing Rock because it's really kind of evolving in my head. I chose these readings before I went to Standing Rock, and I prayed about it a little bit, not as much as anyone would like to, and that's what came to me, and it sort of developed a little bit over the course of the week as I was thinking about Goliath and the Philistines, and this morning, and as you may be getting used to, I sometimes my lens is a little cracked. I look at things from a little different angle. coming to me that Goliath needs better representation. He needs like a better PR person. He needs a better connection with the press. I couldn't find the reading this morning, but there's some line, and I should know this, but it's in Samuel about him ranting and raving about cows. He's yelling about how the cows are going to eat David's, it's crazy time. I mean, it's nuts. And I find myself, thinking, could the Philistines possibly be this bad? Could anybody be this bad? And I wonder what the Philistine Gazette was saying about the Israelites and how David was portrayed, in the Philistine Telegram. If David was the little hero with the five stones. And one of the things that makes me think about this is up until the 1950s, the oldest Bible we have was about 1,000 years old. So that means that the Old Testament readings were kicking around for about 2,000 years in various forms, and some of them were. And the New Testament oral stories that became readings were kicking around for a long time. So we had this 1,000-year-old Bible. And then in the 1950s, they discovered manuscripts that the Nag Hammadi and the Cecil that had these same inscriptions. Now this is interesting to me because I'm a geek. Maybe it's not interesting to anybody else. But in the Bible we have today, Goliath is about 9'9". That's very big. And by those standards, in that day, I would have been a giant. I would have been really rugged and big. So Goliath is 9 feet 9 inches tall. That's huge. That's huge. Now, in the manuscripts they found in the 1950s, he was 6'6", also quite big, but not 9'9". And one of the most miraculous events in biblical history is the growth of Goliath after death. How did this happen? How did this guy go from 6'6" to almost 10 feet tall? Because I'm pretty sure he wasn't actually growing anymore at that point. I know he ate a lot of, whatever they ate in those days. I had a lot of lamb or whatever, but he wasn't growing after he died. So this makes me think of what is it that we do to our enemies? How do we cast our enemies? We talked a little bit last week, and I don't know if you remember the giant palm. And I had an experience one time when we talked about this last week. I was really angry with this woman, and I just, gosh, she's such an evil, just incredibly evil. And I'm sure she didn't necessarily think that well of me. And as I was praying for this hate to be removed, so I could be back in communion with the Spirit, I got this vision of a giant palm of a hand, and as I pulled back, I could see I was right in the middle of God's palm, and as the scope pulled back, I saw that she was right next to me, which was not a happy moment, but I was so, sort of blissful in that moment that it didn't really hit me like a ton of bricks, but I was like, oh, and as that scope pulled back, I saw that, we're all God's kids. We're all God's kids. And we don't necessarily see ourselves as God's kids all the time. I was speaking to a wise person who has a lot of knowledge of human behavior and how we construct things. And I had to pray and think about this. And they suggested that sociologically and psychologically, we often define ourselves by our enemies. And I think there's a little bit of that going on in today's Old Testament. The bigger and worse my enemy is, the more justified and righteous I am to vanquish it, that enemy. There was a theologian in Nazi Germany who was against the the Nazi regime, and he had a wonderful prayer that I've adapted and stolen many times. And he also had a wise message about the kind of God I create at times when there is conflict. And he mentioned that if, in my mind, my enemies also coincidentally happen to be God's enemies, there's a very good chance that I'm creating God in my image instead of the other way around. And what he said was, my enemies are not God's enemies. God doesn't have enemies. That's hard to wrap my head around. And I'm like, but what about this bad? What about this guy who just did this? What about that? And it's such a hard concept to wrap our heads around. And it's so much easier to make simple black and white decisions. We crave, I don't even want to admit this, but we crave simplicity. Oh, there he is. That's the guy with the black uniform. Yeah, bad guy. Good thing. That's over with. Now I can move on. It's really hard to hold the tension. Like to be in that valley where God created the Philistines and Goliath, that God created the Hebrews and David. To be in that valley and hold the tension and not have to, who's the right guy? Who wins? Who's going to win? You know, who am I? What side should I be on? Today, Jesus talks about, loving your enemies, and gosh, that's so hard. And when I think about Jesus' example as sort of a contrast to the David and Goliath story, in the David and Goliath story, God supports David, and all David needs is a few small stones. That's all he needs because he's got God. And he defeats this giant guy, however big he was. He's a heck of a lot bigger than David. He defeats this giant guy with these little pebbles, these little small stones. And we fast forward ahead to Jesus, and Jesus doesn't even have pebbles. When God chooses to manifest among us, he loses the pebbles. Doesn't even bring a pebble with him. No slingshot, no nothing. The only real weapon, if you would call it, is unconditional love. Jesus is not going to let his enemies turn him into them. He's going to love them no matter what. And for my money, the most amazing miracle in the Bible is when Jesus is actively dying. He's in the process of dying on the cross. He's praying for those people who are putting him to death. I can't even conceive of it. As much as I prayed about that, I think, gosh, how is that possible? I don't know. Only through God, I think, is it possible. But one thing that's clear to me is that Jesus isn't defining himself by his enemies. Jesus isn't wasting any time telling us how bad they are, or what evil they're up to, or what. And in most of his stories, he picks the least likely person to be the hero of the story. It's like, oh, who can't you stand? Yankees fan. Well, let me tell you a story about the Yankee scenario, or about the good Yankee. And like, I don't want to hear that story. I want Big Poppy to be the hero of it. So, well, sorry. Poppy goes on his way and leaves you in a ditch. And the guy who comes on is wearing a Derek Jeter jersey. and that's the kind of stories Jesus would tell us. Deliberately to confound and to make us really think about holding the tension and being in that difficult place where it's not easy and it's not black and white. It's not simple. Like I went out to, I didn't go to Colorado, I went to North Dakota. Still in the days. But I went out there really with a very simplistic, good guys, bad guys mentality, as much as I don't try not to think that way. And one of the things that happened was I came to realize how incredibly complex the situation is out there. It's not a simple Well, these guys don't want to fight. I mean, there are so many different mindsets within one group, and it's just very complicated. It really it would take time to explain it. Very complicated. And when I pulled up, the bridge, of course, was closed. So I had to go back like 40 miles around, and this is after driving 1,900 miles. And like, and then you go like all this huge 40-mile detour around. So I stopped at the roadblock, the checkpoint, and I said, oh yeah, you gotta go back. So, 20 miles will take all that. So I'm going, and I pull over, like the GPS don't work. How far was it? And this sheriff's deputy pulled over, and he's like, hey, you know where you're going? I'm like, no, it's farther down here. He says, yeah, and he gave me like detailed directions and mileage and all this stuff. And he was doing everything he could to help us out. He introduced himself, and my name's Brian, so and shook my hand. Just a gentle, decent guy, and he's part of this team that I was really turning into a person. I didn't want to do it, but we trained, like it's in our DNA. That's how we operate. Like, okay, how do we frame this guy to be the worst possible? So it's nice and easy for me. Me good, you bad. Good, let's move on. And it just didn't work. So this wonderful guy, working 16-hour days, pulled over and helped me with those directions. And as I'm reflecting about some of the stuff that's going on with the deliberate attempt to control the message and to not really let anybody tell the truth of what's going on. The orchestration of narratives about violent protesters when it's really incited by Brian's buddies. It's like, how can I wrap my head around that? I really like that guy. I really like him. And if I make it back out there, I want to call this guy up and have coffee with him. And like, who are you? Like, how can you be this guy and be on a team that put numbers on people's arms and locked, women in cages over there? How do those things compute? As I was thinking about this morning's message, I have to try to, my wife says, look, zero in on one thing. Let them take one thing home. And what I want you to take home, I guess, is that it's complicated. It's really complicated. What's it? Everything. Life is really complicated. And these conflicts are complicated. They're not simple, they're not black and white. And I think what God wants us to do is to be as close as possible with God so that we can be Jesus in that battle, in that conflict. So we don't have to pick the side that gets to behead the other side or slaughter the other side. I think God wants us to be Jesus. And to me, it's very hard. Be therefore perfect. Well, what does that mean? I can't be perfect. I can't be perfect. But I can be perfect in maybe my attempts to go to God. I could maybe be a little better in relying on myself less in my own narratives and being present. Communing with God, getting the junk out of my head and being present, letting God be present, within, going into that divide and bringing the presence of Christ. It's there anyway, but if I open myself up to it, maybe there's a slight chance that it could flow. And, and what is it? What are you trying to say? And I think what I'm trying to say is that, and I think she's trying to say that don't read this Old Testament, it's no good anymore. I'm saying, no, I think we need to read it with God because it's really good and really complicated. I think God wants to teach me something through every piece of Scripture. Maybe I can't, I can't quite get it, I can't quite get it. But I think if I read it with the eye and the vision of Christ, I can get something out of everything. When the Israelites come into the Promised Land, and there are people there, right? They execute them, right? They get rid of people. It's like, well, God's given. But I don't think God wants me to ignore that passage, or to pretend it's not there, or to take the side of the Canaanites, or to take the side of Israel. I think God today, I think, wants to challenge me to read that and say, how's that playing out now? And how would that be different if we had the Prince of Peace in that word? So I think, I'm playing up here, I was thinking a lot about you guys and pitying you that you're going to have to be with me this morning, listening to that. But I hope that we can always come together, laugh sometimes. It's important to laugh. And I hope we can be ourselves and be comfortable with one another to the point where we can really make each other uncomfortable. I don't think faith is about being comfortable. I don't think walking the path of Jesus and following, worshiping Jesus is ice cream. It's easy. It's easy. Following Jesus is nailed. It's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. Even me, a little pacifist. I see somebody spraying gas in a 75-year-old face from 15 feet. I want to go kick the kid. I don't want to be Jesus. I don't want to be Jesus. I want to be like maybe Goliath today. No, that's not an option. We'll call Jesus and those boys. So I hope that we can become so comfortable with one another that we can really say the things that we need to say that are written on our hearts. Be who we are. Find out who we are. What's our real DNA? Like all of it, good, bad, everything. And be together in that tension. In that tension. Be uncomfortable together. And if we can do that, gosh, we can really grow together. We can really grow together. And honestly, I have a limited experience. I've been stumbling around a spiritual path for about 20 years. And I have a limited experience, but I just haven't met anybody yet who has a magical cave ride to the peace of Christ. It usually comes with bumps, bruises, scrapes, ego deflation. It's not like fun, It's not easy like picking a black and a white side. Like, oh yeah. It's difficult. So I think what I want to leave you with this morning is that the spiritual path is complicated and it's uncomfortable. So if I'm ever up here and you're feeling yourself being annoyed and irritated, it's working. It's working. It's happening. It's happening. And when you're uncomfortable, the best thing to do would be come tell me about it when you're uncomfortable together. God, we thank you for being with us in good times and bad, and we thank you for the comforting balm, the love, the compassion, the mercy of Jesus. And we thank you for the moments of discomfort and the moments of challenge. We ask that you be with us, and just help us to stand in our tension and know that you're present. This is all we can really ask is that you walk with us and you promise to do that. And we thank you.